Hey everyone, it's me, it's Michael B.
Wait, what are you doing here? What are you doing here?
I'm here for Kev Grit. Just for Kev Grit.
How did you get here?
I control everything. I'm on everybody's stream, man. You know that.
Oh God. It's the I Hate Monday show. It's never too late to live stream. Michael B, welcome to the I Hate Monday show, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you're coming from Michael B's live stream, Michael B admitted that the well-played pinball machine is the best pinball machine ever made in the virtual pinball history. Isn't that correct, Michael B, the Game Genie?
That's right. They've sold pinball machines to Ogdenville and New Havenbrook.
Yeah, man. I noticed that the live chat really wanted you to answer that question. Which one's your favorite? Which one's your favorite? You don't have a favorite?
No, I don't have a favorite. I like both of them. I like both of them a lot. It depends on what you want to do that day. I've been having a lot of fun with my AtGames Legends pinball table, and I'm excited to see what else I can do with it too once my Rachel board gets here.
Oh, well, no bones about it for me. The AtGames Legends pinball machine is my absolute favorite out of all the consumer cost-friendly consumer V-pins that have been released by these companies, without a doubt. So, guys, welcome to the show. Thanks so much. What we wanted to talk about tonight is, what does AtGames and iArcade need to do? What are their next steps? E3 is fast approaching, and from what we're hearing and what we're seeing behind the scenes, it appears that Arcade 1UP is going to be bringing the heat. And if they're bringing the heat, these other companies don't want to be left behind. And we cover all these companies frequently on my channel. So I wanted to get your guys' opinion. What I did is I put together my top 5 things that I feel iArcade and AtGames need to do to either improve or get better or something new, right? And I want to get Michael B's feedback as well as everyone in the live chat. So let's kind of get to it, man. Let's get to it. So the first one I wanted to talk about was iArcade. So folks in the live chat, do me a favor. What do you think iArcade needs to do in order to compete? Especially with the amount of people that are going to be opening their wallets, maybe in limited supply this year due to world events, and not being able to purchase as many arcade machines, right? You're running out of space, right? We've been collecting these things for 2 years now. So now we're being more selective with our purchases. Throw it in the live chat, guys. I want to see what you guys want. A lot of folks are saying come down in price. Well, Michael B, don't they have a sale going on right now? Is that correct?
Yeah, $100 off right now. Great time to get in, join the iArcade family. Or iArcade family. I never know which one it is. Is it iArcade? What's the appropriate term?
It's iArcade. It's supposed to be just the one I, but a lot of II, Captain. Major retailers, well, they're in Amazon and Walmart. It doesn't get any bigger than that, does it, Michael B?
And hopefully soon, a retailer in Canada. We can get our hands on them as well.
And lower price. Okay, cool. Well, let me start firing away. And guys, definitely, again, I'm no expert. I'm no economist. I'm just an average Joe who has a YouTube channel who likes to play arcade games. So obviously there's a lot of stuff about this business that I don't know, right? Way over my head. But this is just my personal opinion, the top 5 things that I would like to see iArcade and expand their brand. So for instance, my number 1 thing that I think iArcade needs to do is get some of those top 50 arcade games on their platform. If you take a look at their licenses, they have well over 200 games already licensed, well over 100 available in the store, other games being optimized, set to be released. But I think for the retro gamers out there who are purchasing this device, hoping to play retro games on it, you really want to get some of those top 50 titles, the most recognizable and best games of all time. Now, depending on what website you go to, the top 50 is going to be kind of mixed up, right? It's going to be a mix and match depending on what, writer wrote that article. There's no true top 50 list, right? So it's all subjective, right? But when we think about it, iArcade does have partnerships already with Sega, with Data East, and as we just found out last week, Taito is now in the house. And if you take a look at the top 50 arcade games of all time on the majority of lists, you will see a healthy mix of Sega, Data East, and Taito games in those lists. So they have Data East games today, they have Sega games today, but none of these are in the top 50. Michael B, are you frozen? Oh, sorry, you were frozen for a second, but you unfroze on my end. And of course, so what do you think about this, Michael B? Should Jong, Minchik, should they be hitting up Sega, Data East, and Taito and saying, hey, whatever games are on this top 50, should we get them, right? Should we get Golden Axe? Should we get Bubble Bobble? You know what I mean? Elevator Action. You know what I mean? Should these games end up on the platform? What do you think, Michael B?
It wouldn't hurt. I look at iiRcade, especially with its power, as going in a different direction. I like seeing what they're doing, bringing more modern games on there. But there are a lot of people that bought the iiRcade and they don't have another arcade in their house. This was their one purchase. And they certainly want to see more classic arcade games on there, and especially good classic arcade games. So absolutely reaching out, trying to get some of those top 50, a good representative sample of top 50 arcade games, as well as some modern stuff, would certainly be a good direction for iiRcade to go in.
I mean, I firmly believe in the future we'll see these other IP holders such as Konami, Capcom, Atari. I'm pretty confident we'll see those end up on the iiRcade at some point. But if you, instead of thinking about the future, thinking about today, you have 3 great publishers who you already have a relationship with who have some of those games. And if I was Jong, I would get those games or some of those games and get them on the platform to satisfy the folks looking to play the retro games on this particular platform. As we move on to number 2, I do feel that that user interface they have needs a little bit of a refresh. What are some of the things that, Michael B, you would like to see changed on the user interface, or do you think it's perfect? And guys, let us know in the live chat, what do you think they need to do with that user interface?
Well, I mean, I think it's really easy to use right now. I find it easy to go find the games I want to find, but it's not very pretty. I believe it was Mason Conrad, who does a lot of stuff for YouTubers everywhere. He actually did kind of like a mini proposal to John and put some information out there and showed what he would like to see the user interface looks like. And I thought that looked very pretty. I think CoinOps is pretty, but it has to be pretty but functional. That's what I will say.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, we need some game logos. We need something a little more modern. I think what Mason showed off, which unfortunately I do not have a copy of to show everybody, I mean, it looked pretty good, right? And a lot of these handhelds and stuff, like the interfaces that are coming out, even on some of these like very cheaply made products overseas, are some pretty decent stuff, right? And the iiRcade needs a little bit of a facelift there, right? In my opinion, that user interface, it needs a little bit of a facelift, and hopefully we're going to see that in a future firmware update. Michael Suna says, search bar, apple of my eye, says scrap the whole thing and start over. He doesn't like any of it at all. And then, of course, this is huge, right? We should be able to purchase and buy games from the cabinet itself. We shouldn't have to pull out our phones. You know what I mean? It should just be point click with the joystick and buttons, I think. So I think that would be great.
You know what? That's not that uncommon, though. Like, I just got the Oculus Quest, and I don't know if you can see all my stuff here, all the merch. It's like people only just do things for money, and that's sad. So, anyways, the Oculus works the exact same way. You have to be connected to an app in order for it to work, and you have to buy your stuff from the app.
Now, another thing that I would very much like to see, everybody, my number 3 out of 5 is I definitely would love to see some screen filtering options added into their user interface, such as removing smoothing effects, doing like what do you call that? Pixel perfect. Yeah. I would also like the ability maybe to tweak aspect ratios a little bit if you can, for whatever comfort levels for the user. Because you have a 19-inch 5.4 monitor, right? And some of these games might look better on a 4.3 versus a 5.4, right? And then what else? What else? Oh, adding scan lines would be nice
Yeah.
as well. There's people out there that really like the ability to add scan lines. So that would be nice. Yeah, turning filters off and all that stuff. Don't worry, 8-bit vinyl. We're getting there. We're getting there.
I just want to I want to
ahead.
recognize a comment there from Vic Vicious 75.
Mhm.
G.I. Joe. Konami G.I. Joe. John, you would win my heart if you brought that to the iArcade, brother.
Okay, let's move along because those are a couple of the smaller ones. Where are we? Modern games. Modern games, right? You have to have, if you're going to bring in retro games, instead of bringing in a couple hundred games that, not everyone cares for, go bring in the top 50, right? Spend the money, bring in the top 50. I think we'd be okay with less games due to their costs, higher costs for the top 50, you would assume. I think we'd be okay with having the better games versus more games that aren't as good. However, when it comes to the modern games, the folks that are purchasing this cabinet for the modern games, there have been some cool ones that have come out already. There's definitely nothing wrong with what they've done with Dead Cells and things of that nature. But, I mean, we're talking, we got to get Shredder's Revenge. We got to get Streets of Rage 4. If you're able to play all these games on the same cabinet that you can play Retromania Wrestling on, which is going to be released here probably in the next week or two, that will just completely make people say, I might want to purchase this cabinet because I want to play those games, right? What do you think about that, Michael B, as well as everyone in the live chat? Are these, in my opinion, these are the must-haves. These are the two games that Jong should throw all the money at and beg and plead and say, please let us have your games. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, we're at a point where we've got a lot of quantity. We want to get some quality, real quality on there, and especially with the modern games. So Shredder's Revenge, people would go bananas for, and Streets of Rage 4 is a huge one. But you look at games like Cuphead, you look at games like that new Shadow Ninja game. I can't remember the name of it that just came out. It's on Xbox Game Pass, Cyber Shadow. Like stuff like that that's really hot right now that would bring people in. I would love to see that stuff come to iArcade. It's cool. There's some hidden gems sometimes, but sometimes you really got to swing for the fences.
I mean, if folks are looking to play modern games on an arcade machine, can you imagine that you could walk into your arcade room and you could play Retromania Wrestling, Oddmar, Riptide, Dead Cells, Yeez, Evil Land 1, Evil Land 2, all the other Streets of Rage 4, Shredder's Revenge, like knowing that is all available on your machine and you'll get an arcade experience. Yeah, you can have it on your PC and play with a gamepad, right? But we're talking the arcade experience. That's what we're in it for, right? That's what I'm in it for, right? So I just think that would just blow the roof off the joint, right? So that would be really cool. So Jong, I really hope you can get these games. And Alejandro gave us a $5 super chat. They should pick up a deal with JB on the Gun 4 IR. That would be awesome. Do you guys want iArcade to make a light gun cabinet? Michael B, what do you think? And while I'll wait for the live chat to come in.
I think people would be more excited for maybe add-on for the iArcade if it was possible. But also, I mean, if they made a second cabinet that was a light gun cabinet, I think people would be excited for that too.
Yep. We got a thought here. Guys, what do you guys think about Destro saying making a console? We have the Evercade, and they're putting arcade games on their console per the trailer that just came out a little bit ago. Thanks to Kev Gret, who let me know about the trailer. I just watched it too. But they announced, I think, Gallico, Atari, Data East, and I forget the other company they mentioned. It was another smaller one. But would you guys want an iArcade console? Me personally, I do not want an iArcade console, but let me know in the live chat if you do.
Well, I mean, there's people out there all the time that say, like, I don't have room for Technos is awesome, by the way. I don't have room for an arcade cabinet in my house, but they would like to get on if there was some kind of add-on, like the AtGames Legends Gamer Pro or Gamer Mini. Maybe if there was an iArcade Gamer Mini with some kind of puck that you could connect to your TV. There's an appetite there for people who don't have room for a full cabinet in their house.
So this is an awesome comment by the Third Floor Arcade with Jason, and this might make you giggle a little bit. He goes, "P-Dubs, did you beat Kung Fu Master yet?" No, I have not. And in fact, if I had to rebrand my YouTube channel today, it would be the Third Floor Kung Fu Master with P-Dubs, because I cannot get past the third floor on the iArcade of Kung Fu Master. And it's really getting me upset that I cannot get past the third floor. I cannot make it to the fourth floor. However, Gunther at Uplay Arcade, I did order those restrictor gates because I feel like I really need that four-way restrictor gate, and I'm thinking I might have a better experience. But yeah, I can't get past the third floor, guys, in Kung Fu Masters. But if it wasn't, what do I always say, guys? If it was too easy, it wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be fun. So Kung Fu Masters crazy hard. Okay, so now let's talk about what I think iArcade needs to do. I've been thinking about this. Should they release a new product, and what should it be? So in my opinion, and I would love to see this trending, I would love to see this hashtag, and I kind of think it fits. Michael B., are you ready for this?
Ready.
So, and I don't know if this has ever been used before or not, but we have the iArcade, which is their arcade cabinet, right? Here's what I want. Take advantage of that horsepower and bring us some of the best driving games of all time. I would like them to make a separate cabinet, and I would love to see the II Racing cabinet or the II Racer or something of that nature, right? It just fits, right, Michael B? Like you would have II Arcade, and then next to that, it could either be a stand-up driving cabinet, or if he wants to go nuts and make a sit-down one, but I probably would prefer a stand-up myself, stand-up driving cabinet, racing cabinet, and call it II Racing or something similar to that effect. I just think that would be dope. And I think that board has the horsepower. We know it can run Dreamcast games, Xbox 360 games, Switch games, PlayStation 3 and 4 games can all run off their hardware. Not every game ever created on all those platforms, but surely a good chunk of them. So a lot of the games that we've been asking other companies to deliver, such as like Cruisin' and Daytona and things like that, I have a feeling we might have a better chance of seeing those optimized and released on an II Racing cabinet. Michael B., what do you think about this, as well as everyone in the live chat?
Well, I've been saying it till I was blue in the face. I did it on another chill and chat there a couple weeks ago. I would love to see AtGames do a racer. I would love to see iArcade do a racer. Do it properly, where it feels good, where you're not sitting on the floor. I think there's an opportunity to do it. If somebody can do it right, there's money to be made.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And especially with his platform where you could purchase and download. Think about all these great Steam racing games like Horizon Chase Turbo and things like that. Like games like that, they could probably port over very quickly, very simply, hopefully, right? And get those up and running. You'd have a great selection of all these great Steam games, as well as they could bring in some of the classic retro games that we've seen elsewhere. So in my opinion, if Jong was to release another product, I would prefer to see him go the racing cabinet way versus the light gun way. I just think that would be more exciting personally. But then again, like I said in the beginning, guys, I don't know nothing. I'm just an average Joe.
You don't want to see II Dirt?
No, I don't want to see II Dart.
Sure.
That's what I would like to see. But that kind of wraps up iArcade. And a lot of folks are saying they would like the II Racing. II Pinball, I don't know. I don't know about another pinball. That would be tough. Cody says, any news from Toy Shock? Yes, they just started mailing out the 1.3 PCB boards, and the 1.3 pinball machines will be here in June. So that's your Toy Shock update. Brad says iArcade is doing it right. And Adam12 agrees with me that a racing cab would be greater than a light gun cab. I think so. But that's just me. But that could come down to user preference, right? Alan says they would have me as a customer with an II Racer. There you go. Any final thoughts on this, Michael B? I know you're tired. You've been streaming for a while.
Oh, man. That's it. Like, you kind of caught me off guard with that II Racer. I mean, like, my anticipation is they're going to keep building on their software, not so much their hardware, but we'll see.
Sure. We'll see. You never know. You never know. Like, in my opinion, your first product is not perfected yet, right? The arcade cabinet.
Yeah.
You're still building up your library. You're still building up your partnerships, and you're still trying to get units out there in the field. You're trying to get some more customers. Also, you have to update your user interface, things like that. So it sounds like if they were to release like a brand new product, will we see it as quickly as E3? Probably doubtful. Probably doubtful, unless Jong's been working on something super, super secret. But if they did want to go another route and add another product to their lineup, I just feel a racing cabinet makes sense personally to me. It just seems like it would be the best experience. iArcade is still a baby, and we're giving it time to grow. Yeah, can you imagine playing Cruising? Oh man, that'd be so much fun. So much fun. Excuse me, I'm trying to hold back a belch there. All right, let's pivot over because we don't want to make the show too long tonight. I know we're on super late. Let's talk about AtGames, guys. So what are the things that AtGames needs to do, especially with Arcade 1-Up and others bringing the heat at E3? In my opinion, AtGames is probably going to be very quiet at E3 because that's what they've kind of been doing for the last couple of E3s, right?
Yeah.
And because they're a smaller presence, they would probably get swallowed up by Arcade 1-Up news and announcements, right, at E3. So they usually wait until their National Owners Day, which is going to happen this year in September. And it's kind of like their own personal CES kind of event, right? Or E3 kind of event. So if we're going to hear anything big from AtGames, in my opinion, my prediction is probably not going to hear anything until National Owners Day about a new product or new cabinet or something of that nature. But there's things that they need to do. They need opportunities for improvement, right? So, Michael B., what are some of the things that you're thinking of while I try and get some of the live chat on the screen here for everybody? look at apple of my eye, just like iArcade. Scrap the UI and start over.
I will tell you, I do find the controls on both the ALP and the AtGames Legends Ultimate is just a smidge too low. Too low. Smidge.
Only one logo on their cabinet. Yeah, that would be pretty good, right? They might show the Tetris cabinet. Ooh, I don't know. Well, the Tetris cabinet is supposed to be out in May, June, right?
Wasn't it delayed till September?
Oh, I don't remember. Was it September?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, September's National Owners Day. Why show it now? Why show it now? We already bought it. You know what I mean? Like, everyone put in their orders. You don't need to sell it. It's already been ordered.
I might be wrong about that, but I thought that was one of the products that might have been delayed slightly. Yes, September. Yeah.
Yep.
Delayed till fall.
See, this is an excellent point. A lot of Arcade 1-Up fans, some of them out there, you guys might find this crazy to believe, but it's so true. They've never heard of the AtGames Legends Ultimate. And also, Arcade 1-Up is not a household brand name yet either. I guarantee you, if I walk up to some stranger on the street and say, hey, can you tell me what an Arcade 1-Up is? They might look at you and go, huh? You know what I mean? Because although they're making progress, and although they're the biggest out of all these consumer arcade and gaming companies, they're still not that household brand. Whereas if I walk up to somebody else and say, tell me what is a Sega, what is a Nintendo, they know something about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll go back to the term. Like, do you remember when you were a kid and no matter what you were playing, like your parent or your grandparent would say, oh, they're playing that Nintendo. And it's like how people use aspirin, even though that's not the name for Tylenol or whatever. Everybody always says aspirin. It's not Arcade 1-Up right yet. Like, if you see an arcade cabinet in somebody's house, they still just call it an arcade. They don't call it an Arcade 1-Up. It's not known as, I forget what that term's called, but it doesn't have that Tylenol name yet.
Yeah, exactly. A household brand. All right. So when it comes to my top 5 things that I think AtGames needs to do is new games, guys. New games need to be added to this platform. And these games need to be available for download and purchase to your flash drive X. Easiest way to do this, of course, is to get some retro games that will run on your hardware and run locally natively. We were talking about this the other day. I can't remember which show. I don't know if it was Super Game Room Dudes or the other show. We were talking about, wouldn't it be cool if AtGames sold like vertical game packs for your pinball machine and included Burger Time and Elevator Action and Bubble Bobble and all these games, right? Wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be cool if that happened? But also, they need to get in new licenses, right?
Yeah,
they have spent so much time, money, and energy on building this infrastructure, right? Like, it's time to go after games. You know what I mean? And that's not saying they haven't added partnerships in games, because like we pointed out on the last show, they've added Taito, they've added Farside Studios, and they've added Magic Pixel. So they have added 122, 47. They've added 200 some games to their library just in the last year, right? Between pinball and arcade games. But we still need like just retro arcade games, right? Like Mortal Kombat, stuff like that. You know what I mean? What's everyone saying in the live chat? When will the Atari Legacy cabinet review come out? My Atari Legacy cabinet will not arrive until Wednesday. I just got the tracking update, so that's 2 days from now. So I don't even have the cabinet. And as you guys know, I always spend some time with the cabinet. I don't rush the reviews out. So hopefully I'll get it done by the weekend. I mean, it's only like 12 games on a cabinet. It shouldn't be that hard to bang out within a couple of days. I just want to test the games, right, on that cabinet. So, but Michael B., what do you think about that? Game packs, downloads, more licenses.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome idea. The retro game packs, like if they're going to bring in a game, like say, for example, Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat might be a pricey game for them to bring in just for ArcadeNet. However, if you could add the option that it could be sold as a add-on game pack, and then it's an option to be added to ArcadeNet as well, you know, that's how you can kind of make some of your money back. The reality is we're at a point with AtGames where they've got some really good stuff, but we're at the field of dream points. They need to feel the dream point where they need to bring in some of those bigger titles to kind of, they've got an amazing product, but unless they have that title, they built it, people aren't going to come. Like they need to kind of show what their hardware and what their equipment is made of by bringing some of these bigger titles into the platform.
Now, we'll get back to ArcadeNet here in a minute. You guys will notice on my very first one here, I said retro game packs, vertical packs, games like this. Not the only ones you would want to throw on ArcadeNet would be like, can you imagine if they did get Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter or Final Fight or something like that, right? Where you could play with a buddy on the AtGames, right? Like that would be cool, right? For ArcadeNet. But, you know, most of these games don't require a lot of horsepower. You don't need a server to be streaming them to your cabinet, right? So most of those games you're going to want to just download and run natively on the machine, or at least do both, right? Like, hey, yep. Mortal Kombat's on ArcadeNet. Let's go play Mortal Kombat, you know, something like that. But let's move on to the next one. So I don't know about you guys, but I mean, after 2 years of covering AtGames stuff, there are times where I suffer what I like to call firmware fatigue. You know what I mean? Firmware stabilization. I don't know how these guys live with this pressure that they put on themselves. I mean, Michael B., they're putting it on themselves. It's their decision to do firmwares weekly, right? And we have so many firmwares coming out so many fast, and now for so many different devices, right? Because now you got to test and make sure everything on the core works. Now you got to make sure the firmware doesn't mess up the pinball. Now you got to make sure the Legends Connect works, the Gamer Pros, the Gamer Minis, the Ultimate Arcade 1.0, the 1.1. I mean, that's a lot of work, and they're banging these out in a week, buddy. What I would like to see is maybe bi-weekly firmwares once a month. I've noticed that on our firmware release notes, the list of known issues is getting bigger and bigger, Michael B. The list of known issues are like, hey, we've done this, we fixed this, but now that list of known issues is getting bigger, right? And I think that like that needs to be tackled. You know what I mean? That needs to be tackled. That way those known issues go away, and then we add on to it after that. So I would love for AtGames, and you guys know I love AtGames, but I would love for AtGames firmware fatigue. Let's not put so much stress on themselves. You know, can you imagine what these guys, it must be like there? You know what I mean? They're like, we got to get this done by Thursday. You know what I mean? That just sounds exhausting. It just sounds exhausting. So guys, if AtGames did bi-weekly firmwares or maybe once a month firmwares that had more stuff baked in. Like sometimes Michael B will get a firmware update and it'll say we fixed some bugs and we just added like a game to ArcadeNet. You know what I mean? Like, was it really worth the firmware update? I mean, let's think about it. Probably not, right? Probably not worth doing the update.
Yeah, in modern day,
unless that bug was like a really important bug fix. You know what I mean? But like, go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, modern gaming sometimes it's a little frustrating because you only have like sometimes brief minutes to play, like between doing something else, and you want to turn on your machine and just jump into something, and then all of a sudden you see system needs an update. So like you think about Detroit Love, he talked about it when he first got his Legends Ultimate. He was like, this machine's great. I turn it on all the time so I can play the update game.
And it's awesome that both these companies, that's what I love about both iArcade and AtGames is that they can do a firmware update, right? They can add more to the system as well as fix anything that goes wrong, hopefully, right? So that's pretty cool. All right, let's keep going before Michael B falls asleep on us.
I'm sorry.
So here's what I think AtGames should do. You got this pinball machine that's all the rage right now. And according to Michael B's live stream that he just did, AtGames Legends Pinball is the king. Isn't that what you said? But you have this pinball machine. It's kind of big. It's kind of costly. Parts are going up. Prices are going up. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Is there a way they could maybe make it smaller, or can they go bigger, right? You have this very successful machine, and what have we seen them do with the Legends Ultimate Arcade machine? They went from the arcade machine to the gamer devices, right, to these hockey pucks. Like, they went down in size, and then also they met in the middle with the Legends Ultimate Mini Tetris Edition, right? So why not do that with your pinball machine? Why not release a mini pinball machine, maybe a tabletop one? Would you guys want a tabletop one? With that ecosystem. Now, a tabletop one, you might miss out on some of the key features, like, tactile feedback and stuff like that. Like, I don't know how much you can squeeze into a little itty bitty tabletop pinball machine. But also, too, what if they could do a 3/4 scale but still use a 32-inch screen, right, Michael B? Like, we've noticed in the Arcade 1-Up form factors, you can fit a 32-inch screen TV in there, but you're sacrificing the control deck. You know what I mean? So like AtGames could make one that size, but you're probably not going to get the control deck, right? So look at that. Boo hiss on the tabletop. I'm not interested in the tabletop. But what if AtGames did a 3/4 scale pinball machine? So a little bit smaller than the one you have today. And according to Michael B, it needs to be a little bit taller, which I would agree with. I do have mine raised on the legs though, so it helps, and we're the same height. So raise your legs up, you get like an extra inch and a half.
2 inches. 2 inches. Yeah.
And 2 inches is all you need. That's what she said. But then again, they teased us on National Owners Day with that survey saying deluxe, right? Deluxe. Would you guys want an even bigger pinball machine? Do you guys want that deluxe? In my opinion, I just think that you have this product that's winning. And it's really good. It's really popular. People are digging the AtGames Legends pinball machine. Why not make more variations of it? Maximize it. You know what I mean? Who cares if you oversaturate it? If they came out with a deluxe pinball machine, I would probably get one. You know what I mean? I would want one. What do you think, Michael B?
Yeah, I mean, if it's going to have deluxe, if it's just going to be bigger, I've got an AtGames Legends pinball, but if it's going to be deluxe, like we're talking solenoids, we're talking closer to a deluxe VPin machine, I'm interested. And that's something I definitely would be willing to jump into. It'd
be expensive, though. It would be expensive. I mean, think about it. If the AtGames Legends pinball with the pinball game packs are $750, $800, imagine how much a deluxe would be. At that point, should you build your own, or would you buy the deluxe because all the work's been done for you? I think a lot of folks might just buy the deluxe.
I'd buy the deluxe.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love this. Not bigger. It would exceed the wife's tolerance quotient. There you go. There you go. Here we go. If it was $1,000 with solenoids and a real DMD, I'd be very down. There you go. That's an excellent point. I love this. I love these specs. 43-inch with a 27-inch back glass and a 16-inch DMD. There you go. Conti says even a $1,500 deluxe would still be a bargain. That would be awesome. All right, guys, this is all great feedback. And what's cool, too, is if these shows happen to tune into these shows, or these companies tune into these shows, they get to see your real world feedback, right? So, and nothing gets better unless we voice it. You know what I mean? Okay, so 2 more things here, guys. So this is where I was talking about ArcadeNet. They gotta make ArcadeNet like something like, man, I gotta subscribe to ArcadeNet, right?
Yeah.
So they need to have those big games on there for us to stream onto the system for those folks who actually want to use it. You know what I mean? Me personally, I hardly ever use ArcadeNet. Hardly ever use, only for the pinball games right now, because really all those other games, it's not been my thing, right? So, I would like them to have some killer titles on there that make you say, I want to log in, hop into those lobbies, and kick Michael B's butt in Mortal Kombat or a game like that, right? We keep saying Mortal Kombat because it's just a great example of a popular game that you would want to play with a buddy online. You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't necessarily have to be Mortal Kombat, but it needs to be. We've got a lot of hidden gems like squash. How much fun is squash, right?
Yeah, I like squash. I do like squash.
We do need something a little bit more familiar that's going to bring people in there. Like even with a hidden gem, that'll only get you so far. It has to be something with some namesake recognition, something that's going to motivate people to go in. Again, if you build it, they will come.
Okay, now ArcadeNet is not one of their most popular services that they offer. At least from my own personal point of view, I can't tell you how many people actually use it or like it or play with it or stuff. It just, from what I see in fan forums, it seems like ArcadeNet's one of the things that they talk about the fewest, right? And if you want to increase that chatter, that means you got to do something to make it better, make it more exciting, which is my point. Now, for the final thing is, I do think AtGames does need to come out with another product, but it's got to be something completely different than what they've done before. So if AtGames could release one new product, what do you guys want? Do you guys want a purely dedicated light gun cabinet that maybe has a couple of licensed light gun games on there, and maybe you'll be able to, I don't know, play your own games? But then again, who knows if the light guns will be optimized for them? We don't know what technology they're going to use. Would you want a dedicated light gun cabinet? Would you want a dedicated, kind of like the iArcade? Would you want a racing cabinet? Michael B, which one would you want?
Racing. I want an AtGames racing cabinet.
I'm surprised you said that with what you've been putting out there lately.
What do you mean? Explain.
Well, guys, I put down, here's the one form factor that AtGames hasn't done yet, and I actually think that this was a great idea, and I actually think people would buy this. And I want your guys' opinion. Would you actually buy this? And there's this YouTuber. He's kind of mean. He's always jumping on everyone else's live streams. He's an attention. What's that word? Attention. Like he needs attention. But he had the most amazing idea. And the more I think about it, the more I want it. And that would be a 3-way cocktail table.
Yeah.
Like I honestly want AtGames to do this. If you had a cocktail table with 2 players who could go head to head on the same screen, and then a separate set of controls on the other side where you could play horizontal games. And because the AtGames universal firmwares already give you that feature, the ability to rotate the screen, play in portrait mode or horizontal mode. Like, dude, Michael B, I thought that was a genius idea. And honestly, I want AtGames to make this product. I want them to make a 3-way cocktail table. I actually want a racing cabinet from iArcade. I want more light guns from Arcade 1-Up, because I feel Arcade 1-Up can get the best licenses. And then I want a 3-way cocktail table from AtGames. If those 3 things were announced at E3, I would leap for joy. But obviously these are just, is this going to happen? You know what I mean? But that's what I want, guys. I would love this 3-way cocktail table, and it's got to be called the AtGames Michael B legendary Michael B cocktail table. You know what I mean? Conti says 3 ways are good. And Jamie says they should continue to go route of interchangeable control decks for racing gun games. Yeah, that could be interesting. PDubs has all the scoops. I don't have any scoops. I do have one scoop for you guys. So as we're kind of wrapping things up, I I was talking with Jong on the phone earlier today. He won't reveal to me what is happening tomorrow, Tuesday. But he told me he's like, it can't miss big announcements. You know, you know how Jong is. He talks really fast, gets really excited, and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, Jong, how many things are you going to announce tomorrow? Is there anything we can say? What's going to happen? Like, I'm thinking, like, is there going to be one announcement? Is there going to be two announcements? You know what I mean? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, how many announcements are there going to be tomorrow? And I have a feeling that I don't have enough fingers on a single hand for the amount of announcements that Jong might release tomorrow on his live stream. Wow. There might be a bigger number out there. So hopefully you guys tune into that. I know I will, because I want to find out exactly what these all are. As we get closer to peak season here with E3 and all that kind of stuff, a lot of these companies are getting more and more secretive, right? They're trying to keep things close to their chest. So hopefully we'll find out everything that's going on tomorrow. But this was a really good, interesting discussion. I loved seeing everyone's live comments as to this kind of stuff that they would like to see these companies do. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my picks. And again, I might be wrong. I don't know everything. I'm a nobody. But I just personally feel that these are the 5 things I would like to see from both of these companies. And if you agree, great. If you don't disagree, that's totally great too as well. I loved reading everyone's opinions in the live chat. Michael B is going to pass out on us, guys. And also I have to go spend some time with the wife, and all that good stuff. So do me a favor. If you enjoyed the live stream, give us a thumbs up on the way out. Make sure you consider subscribing to PDubs Arcade Loft, as well as Michael B, the Game Genie. And we might be back here next week, or at least by Friday. Ain't that right, my friend?
That's right.
You guys have a great night. Thanks so much for tuning in so late, and I'll be talking real soon.